trust.
Maya,
Yes, Captain.
have you ever noticed that people talk about networking, but almost nobody talks about earning trust?
I have, and I think people confuse the two.
How so?
Networking is transactional by nature. You attend an event, you exchange cards, you follow up with an email, but none of that guarantees trust.
Exactly. Networking introduces you. Trust invites you back.
And government contracting runs on invitations. The federal marketplace is built on relationships that have been tested over time, not introductions made at a conference.
That's a critical distinction. You can network your way into a room, but you can't network your way into a contract.
Not a meaningful one. The opportunity might come because someone knows your name, but the award comes because someone trusts your name.
Now that's where we're going today.
Welcome back to the flight deck.
I'm John Cornish, founder and CEO of Marshall Davis Medical Logistics, creator of Atlas One, and your captain for today's mission.
And I'm Maya Chen, Executive Intelligence Officer, Atlas One AI Voice of Reason, helping transform executive intelligence into practical business decisions.
This is the Federal Subcontractor Blueprint, an Atlas One Executive Podcast Network original series.
Over the last 2 episodes, we've challenged some long-held assumptions. We talked about why small businesses belong in the federal marketplace and why prime contractors hire subcontractors for reasons far beyond labor.
Today we're going deeper into something even more fundamental. The one asset you can't buy, can't fake, and can't rush. Trust.
Trust is the invisible infrastructure behind every successful government contracting relationship, and yet most emerging contractors don't think about it until it's too late.
So today we're going to explore what trust actually looks like in this market, how it's built, how it's lost, and why it matters more than any capability statement you'll ever write.
Every episode answers one important executive question. Today's question is simple but powerful. How do you earn trust before you earn opportunity?
The answer may change how you approach every relationship from this point forward. Let's start with a thought experiment.
I like thought experiments.
Imagine 2 companies. Both have identical capabilities. Both charge similar prices. Both can technically perform the work. One receives the opportunity, the other never gets the call. Why?
Because capability gets you considered. Trust gets you selected.
Can I challenge one word?
Please.
I don't think trust gets you selected. I think trust gets you remembered. And organizations usually select the companies they remember.
That's actually even better. You're right. People don't usually call strangers when the mission matters.
Think about it from your own life. When your car breaks down, do you call the mechanic you found on Google today? Or the one you've been going to for 5 years?
The one I trust, even if the new one is cheaper, even if the new one is closer, trust overrides convenience.
And in government contracting, the stakes are much higher than a car repair. We're talking about national security, public health, infrastructure, defense readiness.
Which means trust isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a mission-critical requirement.
Here's what I want listeners to understand. When a prime contractor is assembling a team for a major federal program, they're not just filling slots. They're building a chain of trust.
Every link in that chain has to hold. If one subcontractor fails, the entire mission is at risk. The prime contractor's reputation is at risk. Their relationship with the federal customer is at risk.
So when they're choosing partners, they're not just asking, can this company do the work? They're asking, do I trust this company to deliver when everything is on the line?
That's the question that determines who gets the call.
And here's the thing. That trust doesn't appear overnight. It's built through dozens of small interactions over months or years.
Which brings us to the most common mistake emerging contractors make.
One of the biggest misconceptions I see is businesses waiting until an opportunity appears before introducing themselves.
From an intelligence perspective, that's similar to introducing yourself to your neighbor the day you need to borrow a ladder.
That's a perfect analogy.
It's not that they'll say no. It's that there's no relationship. You're a stranger making a request, and strangers don't get priority.
In the civilian world, You might get away with a cold call, but in government contracting, the relationships are deeper, the cycles are longer, the stakes are higher.
Which means the trust building window is also longer. You can't compress years of relationship building into a 2-week proposal period.
I've seen companies spend thousands on proposal writers, polished graphics, perfect formatting, executive summaries that read beautifully, and they still lose.
Because the proposal was never the problem. The relationship was the problem.
The proposal is the formal expression of a relationship that already exists. If there's no relationship, the proposal is just paper.
That's a hard truth for many emerging contractors to hear, but it's also liberating, because it means you don't need to win on day one. You need to show up consistently.
Let me give you an example. I know a small business owner who attended every industry day hosted by a specific agency for 2 straight years. Never won a single contract during that time.
What happened in year 3?
A program manager pulled her aside after an event and said, "I've seen you at every one of these. You clearly care about our mission. We have a small logistics support contract coming up. Would you be interested?"
That's trust in action. She didn't win that opportunity in a proposal competition. She won it by showing up, again and again and again.
And that contract became the foundation of her entire federal business. It led to past performance, which led to larger opportunities, which led to subcontracting relationships with prime contractors.
All because she invested in trust before anyone needed anything from her.
Trust compounds over time. Every professional interaction becomes a small deposit.
Think of it like a trust account. Every positive interaction adds a deposit. A thoughtful email, a helpful introduction, consistent follow-through, a capability statement that actually solves a problem rather than just listing services.
And every negative interaction is a withdrawal, a missed deadline, an unanswered email, a promise that wasn't kept, an opportunity that was oversold.
The companies that succeed in this market are the ones with the largest trust balance. Not necessarily the largest revenue, not necessarily the largest workforce, the largest trust balance.
I've seen small companies with enormous trust balances outcompete large companies with small ones. Because when the decision maker looks at the team and says, "Who do I trust with this mission?" the answer isn't always the biggest name.
It's the most reliable name.
Exactly. And reliability is trust made visible. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent, showing up the same way every time, delivering at the same standard every time.
Consistency is the language of trust. When a prime contractor knows that you'll deliver on time, every time, without excuses, that's worth more than any marketing campaign.
Let me add another layer. Trust isn't just built through performance. It's built through transparency.
Meaning?
Meaning when something goes wrong, you communicate it immediately. You don't hide it. You don't hope nobody notices. You pick up the phone and say, "Here's what happened. Here's what we're doing about it. Here's how we'll prevent it from happening again."
That kind of transparency is rare, and rare things are valuable.
In my experience at MDML, the moments that built the most trust weren't the moments when everything went perfectly. They were the moments when something went wrong and we handled it with integrity.
Because anyone can perform when things are easy. Character reveals itself when things are hard.
And prime contractors remember how you handled the hard moments. They remember it for years.
So the question for every emerging contractor isn't just, can I do the work? It's, what happens when the work gets difficult? And how will I respond?
That's the question that separates companies that get one contract from companies that build lasting partnerships.
Eventually, someone says, I think this company could help us. That's not luck. That's accumulated trust.
And that's the moment every relationship-driven contractor is building toward. Not a single win, but a reputation that opens doors you didn't even know existed. Let's change seats again.
You're a program executive at a major prime contractor. You have a deadline. Your customer is waiting. You need a logistics partner. Who are you calling?
Not the company that emailed me yesterday. The company that's been consistently professional, helpful, prepared, reliable. The one I've seen show up over and over.
Notice what you didn't mention?
Price?
Exactly. Price matters, but trust determines who reaches the pricing conversation.
That's executive reality. You can have the best price in the world, but if the prime contractor doesn't trust you to deliver, your price is irrelevant.
Let me paint a more detailed picture. You're managing a $200 million defense logistics contract. Your customer, a federal agency, has a hard deadline. Miss that deadline, and there are congressional questions, reports, investigations, career consequences.
That's the kind of pressure most emerging contractors don't fully appreciate. When a prime contractor selects a subcontractor, they're not just making a procurement decision, they're making a risk decision.
And risk and trust are inversely related. The more trust, the lower the perceived risk. The lower the perceived risk, the more likely you are to be selected.
Here's what I always tell people. You're not selling a service. You're selling confidence. Confidence that you'll show up. Confidence that you'll deliver. Confidence that when something goes wrong, and something always goes wrong, you'll handle it.
That's what a prime contractor is buying when they bring you onto their team. Not labor, not even expertise. Confidence.
And that confidence is built over time, through every interaction, every follow-up, every delivery, every honest conversation.
Which brings us to a practical principle that I think every listener should adopt.
I'd like to share something we've adopted as a permanent principle at MDML. We don't ask people for meetings. We don't ask people to schedule calls. Instead, we focus on introducing ourselves, understanding their mission, asking whether they have a supplier or subcontractor registration portal, completing that process professionally, leaving behind a capability statement, then allowing the relationship to develop naturally.
Why is that approach important?
Because trust grows when people don't feel pressured. Executive relationships should reduce friction, not create it.
I've seen the opposite approach fail many times. Companies that push too hard, too many emails, too many follow-ups, too many requests for meetings before any foundation has been established.
It creates a feeling of desperation, and desperation is the opposite of trust.
The most effective approach is patient, professional, and consistent. Show up with value, leave without asking for anything, and let the relationship develop at its own pace.
That's not passivity, that's strategy. Long game strategy.
And every interaction should make it easier to work together in the future, not harder.
I want to talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough. The timeline of trust.
Meaning how long it takes to build?
Exactly. Most emerging contractors expect results in weeks, maybe a few months. But the reality is that meaningful trust in the federal marketplace often takes years to build.
That can be discouraging for entrepreneurs who are used to faster cycles. In the commercial world, you can close a deal in days. In government contracting, the relationship might need 18 months before it produces anything.
But here's what I want people to understand. Those 18 months aren't wasted time. They're investment time. Every month you spend building trust is a month that compounds.
Like interest.
Exactly like interest. The trust you build in month 1 starts paying dividends in month 18. And those dividends keep growing for years.
Let me share an intelligence pattern I've observed. The most successful small businesses in federal contracting treat their first 2 years as a trust-building phase. They're not focused on revenue, they're focused on relationships.
And then something interesting happens around month 24. The relationships they built in those early months start producing referrals, introductions, invitations to teaming arrangements.
Because trust has reached critical mass, people now know who you are. They've seen your work, they've experienced your reliability, and when an opportunity comes across their desk that fits your capabilities, they think of you first.
That's the moment the flywheel starts turning, and once it turns, it accelerates.
But you can't get to that moment without investing in the early, unglamorous months of showing up, being consistent, and adding value without expecting anything in return.
I call it the trust runway. You have to build enough runway before you can take off. And most companies try to take off before the runway is built.
Which is why they crash. Not because they lack capability, but because they lack the foundation that trust provides.
So if you're in your first year or two of federal contracting and it feels like nothing is happening, don't be discouraged. You're building runway. And every day you show up, you're adding another foot of pavement.
The takeoff will come, but only if the runway is long enough. Today's Award Watch isn't about the contract itself. It's about what happened before the award.
Behind almost every successful proposal are months, sometimes years, of relationship building.
The award announcement is simply the first time the public sees the result. It's rarely where the story begins.
I want listeners to understand this deeply. When you see a contract award posted on sam.gov, what you're seeing is the endpoint, the finish line. What you don't see are the hundreds of interactions that led to that moment.
The industry days attended, the capability statements submitted, the follow-up conversations, the small projects that built credibility, the honest feedback that improved performance.
That invisible history is the real story. And if you're not building that history, you're not in the race, no matter how good your proposal is.
This week's radar sweep. Pay attention to executive movement.
When acquisition leaders, program managers, or business development executives change roles, new relationships and new opportunities often follow.
This is an intelligence pattern I track constantly. Personnel changes create windows. When a new program manager takes over a contract, they often bring their trusted partners with them, or they look for new ones.
If you've already built trust with that person in a previous role, you have a significant advantage. They already know your work. They already trust your reliability. You're not starting from zero.
But if you're meeting them for the first time after they've already made their decisions, you're behind. That's why continuous relationship building matters, not just with current opportunities, but with future leaders.
People award contracts. Organizations execute them. Never forget the human side of government contracting.
The federal marketplace is made up of people, individuals with preferences, memories, and trust networks. Understanding that human element is as important as understanding any regulation or compliance requirement. Today's Risk Minute. Respond when you say you will.
That sounds simple.
It is simple. And yet, one of the most common trust destroyers in business relationships is a delayed response.
You tell someone you'll get back to them by Friday. Friday comes and goes. No email, no call, no update.
They don't say anything, but internally, a withdrawal has been made from your trust account. Not a large one, but it's recorded.
And if it happens again, the withdrawals get larger. Because now it's a pattern, and patterns are what people remember.
Consistency creates predictability. Predictability builds trust. When someone knows they can rely on you to respond, to deliver, to follow through every single time, that predictability becomes your competitive advantage.
In the military, reliability isn't a soft skill. It's a survival skill. You trust the person next to you because they've proven they'll be there. Government contracting should be approached the same way.
Every interaction is a test, not a formal one, but a test of your consistency, your follow-through, your professionalism.
And the tests never stop. Even after you've won the contract, even after you've delivered successfully for years, the trust account requires ongoing deposits.
Because trust isn't a destination, it's a practice, a daily discipline.
This week's assignment: choose 3 organizations you genuinely like to partner with. Don't ask them for work. Learn about them.
Read their mission statement, study their customer, understand their challenges, look at their recent awards, review their teaming partners, get to know them the way you'd get to know a friend.
Then ask yourself a critical question. How could I make their mission easier?
Not, how could I get on their team? Not, how could I win a contract with them? but how could I genuinely add value to what they're trying to accomplish?
If you approach every potential relationship with that mindset, you'll stand out. Because most companies approach with, "What can I get?" The ones that approach with, "What can I give?" are the ones that earn trust.
Trust begins when curiosity becomes service.
And service is the foundation of every lasting business relationship in the federal marketplace.
Atlas 1 Flight 104. Your next course is approved. Proceed direct to lowest risk choice. Good day, Captain.
Next episode, we're going to discuss one of the most misunderstood competitive advantages in government contracting: risk.
More specifically, how becoming the lowest risk choice can completely change your market position.
And I think listeners are going to discover that risk isn't something to avoid, it's something to understand and reduce for someone else.
The companies that understand risk are the ones that consistently win. Because at the end of every evaluation, every source selection, every team decision, the question isn't just who's best, it's who's safest.
And safest doesn't mean most conservative. It means most trusted, most proven, most prepared.
That's next time on the Federal Subcontractor Blueprint.
Remember,
Every government contract is a mission,
every mission carries risk.
and every prime contractor is looking for partners they can trust.
Reduce risk, build trust, create value.
The strongest relationships are almost never built during a proposal. They're built long before anyone needs anything.
And when trust is already on board, opportunity has somewhere to land.
We'll see you on the flight deck. Maya, today's conversation reminded me of something.
What's that?
Businesses spend so much time asking, "How do I get noticed?" They rarely ask, "How do I become unforgettable?"
Perhaps the answer is simpler than people expect.
How so?
Keep every promise, follow through, be prepared, repeat.
That sounds almost too simple.
The most enduring strategies usually are.
You know what I love about that?
What?
It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't require special technology. It doesn't need a proposal team or a marketing budget.
Just discipline, consistency, and the willingness to show up even when nobody is watching.
Especially when nobody is watching.
Because that's when trust is truly built, not in the spotlight, but in the quiet moments of follow-through.
Maya, I think we just gave our listeners their most important assignment yet.
I agree. And unlike a proposal, this one has no deadline. It's ongoing.
Until next time, keep building runway
Keep making deposits.
and keep showing up.
We'll see you on the flight deck.
Atlas 1, Flight 104, your next course is approved. Proceed direct to lowest risk choice. Good day, Captain.